Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year. 2025 is here, and we're excited to have you joining us today. Dr. Akil has been preparing for this and is excited to be doing this for his people. And it's all about rewriting your health story because we all know that not only do we hold the pen, we get to pick it up, we get to write, we get to put it down if we'd like. But this is really about inspiring you to get on, stay on, and be your healthiest self this year and for many years to come. So thank you for joining us. And as I continue to let people in who are coming, I'm just going to start with saying most of you know Dr. Akil, but did you know that he is still a practicing resurgent physician? He is still a septuagenarian athlete, and he just told me a little earlier that he's increased his 3 mile nearly daily run to 4 miles, and he's got a lot more to share with you about how he's living his healthiest life. Not only is he a huge inspiration to all of us, so with that, once again, welcome everyone. Dr. Akil, welcome to the first Talk with the Doc this year. I'm so excited to have you here and to be hosting this once again.
Thank you, Lynn. Glad to be here. And Happy New Year to all of you. My first bit of advice to you all, as well as myself, please do not go back to your past, what you were not able to do in your past, because you cannot change that. Look at the present in the moment and think about the future. Do not let your past dictate your future. So a couple of things that I have done of recent is my number one project is shop as well as cook with the doc. Now I know that there are a lot of gourmet cooking sites online. I'm not a gourmet cook. Neither am I going to give you gourmet dishes. Go on to all those sites if you have to and get those. Mine are very simple dishes, everyday food that I use, and my family does. We are going to show those. And I will also be going along out to shop some of these items and then bring it back to you on screen. This is going to go on YouTube. I would like you to subscribe on YouTube so that I can have a little bit, people can get access to it more often. And please spread the word around. And I would like your comments, whatever it may be. If I've missed out an ingredient or it could taste better, I have no objections. We are in it together. So look at those things. My last one, which I did, and that was my first attempt. So you may not find it great in terms of, because I was nervous too. Anyway, that was a pizza party and a banana berry smoothie. The pizza was totally without a drop of oil or any sugar. So what I feel is that in a pizza, there are a couple of things that are very important. Your crust, which I use from the Plant Strong people, and the sauce, and the toppings and the cheese. I've not used cheese, I've used nutritional yeast. And the sauce, I have spiced it the way I wanted to, and I've used a lot of veggies. Normally, I would do it from my garden, a few, but right now it is too cold. So I went out shopping and got those. Anyway, I also intend to do more talks and Zoom talks, regular talks, especially with medical students, interns, and young doctors. Because these are the people who can change of how chronic diseases can be prevented and treated at the cause, not the consequence after it has happened. I also am thinking in the summers to have a walk with the dog so that my neighborhood and around people in my county can follow and we can do that. And finally, uh, in December, I joined the Atlanta Outdoor Club. I believe that social support is important. So I joined this club where we do about 5 to 7 miles once or twice a week. It is trekking and hiking. And then we at times have a potluck. So when we have a potluck, these are not all plant-based people. So I take plant-based foods over there so for them to realize whether it is good enough to tasty enough. And so far, I've had good reports. And it's a nice way to also get to know people, their ideas, what are their setbacks in trying to become plant-based. So these are the few things that I have for the year 2025.
Awesome. Love hearing that. And that's one of the ways for success is to not only be doing those types of healthy activities within that support system, being a part of that support system, but having a plan for that. And so that's awesome. I love that. So we're going to do like a personalized Q&A today. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And if you could just give us the wisdom of Akil in responding, that would be awesome. Would love that. And um, so first of all, I just have to let you know that we are so excited to have you back with us again. And a lot of people have survived the holidays and are looking to start a new journey this year. You've given us an idea of what the year looks like for you. But tell us how you're rewriting your health story because you already were on this track of, consciously eating and doing your exercising. Where are the areas that you've defined that you are really going to maybe even add a little more focus to?
I think a couple of very important things that one should start in 2025 is to eat right. Now, even if you are a carnivore, that means a meat-eating person, or you're an omnivore, eating plant-based, eating meats, try to be as far as possible flexitarian. Increase your fruits, veggies, whole grains, nuts, legumes, and beans. And if you do desire, I'm not saying you should, I am a plant-based proponent, but I'm talking about those extremes. They can increase these foods and have a very small amount like a garnish if you have to have small piece of chicken or what. Now, having said that, I would like people to go plant-based foods on minimally processed. I mean, we are eating junk food if you buy even from grocery stores. So, foods, plant-based foods are not expensive. Like your greens, your grains, your beans, your lentils can be bought in bulk. Make your soups and pastas and curries for a week. Pair it off with quinoa, wild rice, brown rice, as and when you feel like. And people think about snacks, meaning chips and French fries. No. You can have a lot of snacks, unsalted nuts and seeds, celery and carrot sticks, made with homemade hummus, or a hummus that I found lately in one of the stores. I can't really remember the name, but it is totally fat-free. Cedar hummus. So that is one thing that I would like you people to increase your overall fruits and veggies and beans and whole grains. Number two, no matter what stage you are, you got to move. Motility, even little motility is better than no motility at all. But here comes very important thing. If you are moving, say walk in the park or gardening, you are benefiting by not getting stiff, by increasing your endorphins, feeling better, your immunity may be built up a little bit. But if you are thinking of a healthier outcome in terms of lowering your cholesterol or your blood pressure or avoiding heart disease, diabetes, then you have to do 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise at least 5 days a week. Now, I stand corrected. Previously, I used to tell people that you should get your heart rate 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate. People who know well good enough, but people who don't know, your maximum heart rate is it's 220 minus your age. If you take 70 to 80% of that, that is what I was telling people to reach in that 30 minutes. But the latest research is that you don't have to reach that all the time. In a 10-minute exercise of what I just told you, you can go for 2 minutes for 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate, come back to normal. Exercise, keep on, say you are on elliptical, then go back on to your normal speed. And again, in the next 10 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes of your heart rate going up. This can be done intermittently. You can even do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening. But it'll be cardioprotective, cardiovascular protective. So it will eventually, we can talk about it more, but this is not your general activity. It is your purposeful activity where you want a health outcome, a satisfactory health outcome. And then finally, if you are and you want to do much more, you want to benefit more, then you can go for performance activity or performance exercise, which is a different ball game altogether. Number three that was number two. Number three that I would like is prioritize your sleep. Because if you, after getting up in the morning, could you fall back asleep at 10 or 11? If you have answered yes to this, and number two, can you function optimally without any caffeine before noon? And if you answered no to this and yes to the previous question, that means you're not getting enough restorative sleep. You need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Sleep is not just the absence of wakefulness. It is a non-negotiable biological necessity. It does wonders. for your memory, for your learning, for your immunity, for your heart, for your other organs, your muscles, your tissues built up. So when you feel that you want to sleep, make it a point to have an alarm not to get up, but an alarm when you want to sleep. Number two, do not lie in bed for more than 20 minutes. The analogy being, you don't sit at the dining table waiting to get hungry. You eat. So why should you be waiting in bed to go to sleep? And then try to all screens, whether it is your laptop or your TV or your iPhone or what have you, should be out. The bed should be only a place to sleep. I don't know, some patients of mine who recently told me about those uh, goggles or your shades which block the white light. And that has helped some. So if you would like to try that, by all means. And then try to sleep at the same time and get up at the same time, irrespective whether it is a weekday or it is weekend. And try to keep your temperature low. They say 65 degrees. I find that too cold. I keep it at 67, 68. And try to take a warm shower because your body needs your temperature to go 2 to 3 degrees to initiate sleep and your melatonin to function. So if you have a consistent time, take these intentional steps by which you can sleep better. So your sleep, your exercise, and your nutrition are, in my mind, the top three in trying to keep healthy.
I love those tips for healthy habits that you're recommending. They are definitely those that can promote the health success that we're talking about. And we're focusing on rewriting our health story and the fact that each of us does hold our own pen for these stories to come about. What are some of the biggest obstacles that you find people face when they're trying to rewrite their story, and how can they overcome them?
I think the biggest obstacle for people is breaking free from your habits and your beliefs. See, what I'm trying to talk about habits is if you're watching a ball game, you're habituated taking a beer with chips. Now that's a habit. So you've got to really try to overcome that habit. But to break free from this is difficult. Or for that matter, uh, you know, your beliefs that I need animal protein. Otherwise, I won't get healthy, especially for men, the manly man. That I will not be able to do sports. I need protein, so I must get. So these are beliefs and habits that need to be changed. Many feel very overwhelmed where to start and how to start. So take baby steps to overcome this. Try to sort of focus on one change at a time. Uh, Add a little bit more plant-based, walk daily, start small, then build up the momentum. Also seek support of doctors who believe in plant-based, seek support of friends and families who believe in plant-based, and these people that align with the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. So what are your 6 pillars? And that should be on top of your head. Everybody should just remember this. Whether you are a plant-based or not, your number one thing is nutrition. It is the sad American diet, standard American diet that kills people and not heart disease. This diet causes heart disease so that it becomes a number one killer. So that's your number one. This is your the nutrition part of it, which we know, we talked about it. Then comes your exercise. We talked about that. Then comes your sleep. Fourth is your stress. People who learned how to handle stress, substance abuse. For all, we all know smoking is bad and this, but recently we've come to know that alcohol does no good for your health, period. And and the last one is a robust social support. I read recently that if you are lonely, being alone and lonely are two different things. Being alone is being okay in your own company. You may be meditating, you want to just be on your own. Being lonely is different. And I read somewhere it's like, as bad if you're lonely as smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day. And support helps because if you have a good support, robust support, then these people are not judging you. They're just helping you to go to walks together, to swim together, to play chess together. And that is what is lacking in not all the time, but in the American society, the way we are. Workaholics, we don't have time, so the social support becomes difficult. So that's another point that I would like to really talk about. And finally, support and the harmful substances. These, if you take into consideration and break your habits and your beliefs, your false beliefs, you're going to go a long way.
Great points. I love that. And, to your point about um, the challenges that we face, we made it through a year of challenges, and those things that brought us great joy. And all of that causes various degrees of stress. Do men experience different stressors than women? And if so, what are they? And do they result in different forms of illness?
You see, to be very honest with you, uh, when it comes to rescheduling, this is a study done in health screening. Men tend not to go for health screening. For whatever the reason, they don't feel like going for a health screening. That is why you see a lot of women in the ER or in urgent cares. Not because they are more sick, because men don't show up. Men show up at a very later stage or just not show up. This is just a point that comes to my mind. Several years back, when I was in the examination room, and this is the truth, it is so vivid in my memory. There was a lady who came around with her husband. I think they were in their 30s. And she says, Doc, will you please look at my husband? I He has got a tummy ache and he's not willing to come to the clinic, and I've forced him to come away. I walk into the room. I talk to the man. I said, what's your problem? And the first thing he tells me is, nothing, doc. Just give me some pain medications and I'll be on my way home. So I said, but would you like to tell me what happened to you? He says, no, I was on my farm and a horse kicked me and I've got a little bruise. So that's all that is to it. I said, do you mind if I examine you? So he shrugged his shoulders and said, okay. So I put him on an examination table. And I kid you not, you've learned over years as students, as residents, as doctors. This was an acute abdomen. Some of his organs were injured, were, were hurt with that kick. And therefore, there are certain signs that we know. And this was acute. It had to be addressed immediately. So, very reluctantly, he agreed to go to the ER with his wife. And then I called up my surgeon and said, "Can you please have a look at him at the ER?" And in the afternoon, as I was taking my rounds in the hospital, that surgeon came to me and said, "Thank God you sent that guy to me. His pancreas was split into two, and he refused to come to the clinic, go to the hospital, and he wanted pain medication." So, we always say that get your screenings done. And knowing your baseline, at least you will know what to expect. And so with this, yes, because you see, men have different responsibilities. They feel that they have to look after the family, they have to be strong, they don't have to show their emotions. So all these do matter a lot. So the societal expectations are different. Now, if you look at it, in our society, a sensitive, kind person or a man is often thought to be a sissy. This is what we think. And so remember, there are certain things which are stress related, and men tend to hold it within themselves, so they don't bring it out. Now, what are the things that can happen to men, like heart disease, high blood pressure, and substance abuse? Well, first, you think about cardiovascular disease. In this country, cardio means heart, vascular means blood vessels, disease. Half of our population has cardiovascular disease, meaning cholesterol, blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, whatever.
Mm.
And men tend to have it more often, and men tend to be not as appearing as obese because they carry it into their bellies, while women tend to appear a little more weight-wise as men. Diabetes. I've seen so many men who come to me at the end, like, talk, I'm literally feeling like I can't get up. I run 3 marathons. And you find the blood sugars 400, 500, because they don't come to you. And the earlier signs, they sort of let it go. Uh, Increase urination, increase thirst, feeling weak, tired, a rash sometimes that can happen, an infection, a skin infection that is not healing, a yeast infection around in the groin area. They won't come. So they come at a later stage whereby the sugars are very high. Skin cancer. Men don't use what do you call the sunscreens and go out in the hot sun. Women tend to protect the skin. Men don't. So you get more skin cancers in men than in women. And I've seen people who come around with melanomas when it has already gone and spread and metastasized. So, small thing, check your skin. If you find something, a growth or a rough spot that is now getting tentacles spreading around, changing color, shape, size, go over, get it biopsied. You can cure the early stage of melanoma completely, but once it is metastasized, it is difficult. Prostate cancer. 1 in 8 men have prostate cancer. But if you catch it earlier, the better. 50, I think it is 55 or 50 is the age. You should get your PSA, the prostate specific antigen, or and also a digital examination. Because caught earlier, you can completely cure prostate cancers. Testicular cancers. This is a younger man's disease, 15 to 35. All they have to do is one in a month, just for 2 minutes, check this genitals and see if there is, because these are tumors that are painless and caught earlier, completely curable. Colon cancer. The nice thing is that colon cancers have reduced overall in this country. But the bad story is that younger people are getting more often. We used to say, have a colonoscopy at 50. Now they're saying at 45. So either a colonoscopy or the stool test has to be done. You have all these processed foods and the junk foods and everything else, and your testosterone level goes down. Your libido decreases. So this becomes a problem with men, and they don't come around to the doctors. They go on TV and look at what is available and use that. And so many times I've said, that low testosterone and erectile dysfunction, would you rather have a blueberry as opposed to having a blue pill? Berries do have a tremendous amount of producing your endothelial cells. It produces the nitric oxide that dilates the blood vessels. And in men who have erectile dysfunction at a young age, at 40 or so, they should be aware of the fact that they could be going in for heart disease. Similarly, a young man with heart disease will have erectile dysfunction because the way it happens is the same. The blood flow is not there. So you have alcohol-related diseases. Men tend to drink more often, more than women. And then you can get esophageal cancer, oral cancer, alcoholic hepatitis, cirrhosis of the liver, respiratory illness, your colds, your smoking that can cause the COPD. I find that more in men who have the COPD and cancers. And again, you have certain times with kind of, if you don't follow the 6 pillars, there is a certain relation to loss of hair, the prostate issues, prostatitis. You can get infertility, premature ejaculation. And one of the greatest things is unintentional accidents in men. Unintentional, that is car wrecks. That's the number 3 cause of death after heart disease and cancers. So learn to put on your seat belts, your helmets, and do some what you call as driving safe. So if you ask them to address their emotions openly, seek support, adopt stress management techniques like exercise, mindfulness, that can help them a lot.
Nice. Wow. Did not realize that men had so many um, things behind their reasons for not showing up to take these preventative measures. So that was really great information. Thank you for that. Um, my next question is really around the misconceptions that people have, the myths, more of the myths that people have about eating healthy. What are some of the most common misconceptions about eating healthy that you've encountered?
You see, misconceptions about eating healthy. You see, people always feel you need to eat less to be healthy. It's partly true. You need to be at about 80% full. That is different. But my point is, it's not necessary about eating less. It is necessary to reduce your calories and increase your nutrient dense foods. The very classic advantage of having whole food plant-based diet is you're not going to increase your weight no matter how much you have. That's your number one. And number two is protein can only come from meat products. No, the protein in meats and the protein in plants are the same proteins, same essential amino acids, the breakdown of protein. Plant-based has more of these amino acids. And your plant-based proteins are good enough for your athletic activities and for your proteins that you have. You do not need uh, animal proteins. Now, if you are exercising and you're an athlete, then you may require more plant-based proteins. But you don't have to necessarily go for uh, animal proteins. And your beans, your nuts, your seeds, your legumes, your quinoa, all these have a lot of protein. Another thing that comes to mind is misconception is that you have to follow strict diets. Strict diets means you're decreasing your calories and sometimes doing intense activity. That lasts you for the period that you're doing this, and you will have a yo-yo effect. You lose weight, and you'll gain weight, and you'll come down, you lose, you gain. We want something which is sustainable. And the only way sustainable is how you eat nutrient-dense foods. And I used to be, when I was young, people used to tell me, snacking is bad. Why are you snacking? Of course, I used to snack on wrong foods. But snacking on right foods is great. I mean, so many kitchens I've seen plant-based households that they have celery sticks, carrot sticks with the homemade hummus around it. So you just keep on coming and dip it in and have it. These are your snacks. Another thing, nice snacks would be your nuts and your seeds, your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds, unsalted though. And then what we have is we always have this misconception, oh, organic food. I'm having organic. Organic means nothing. You can have junk food organic. So the idea is what you do is focus on unprocessed foods. It took me a long time to understand what is written behind. The first thing that you look at the food stuff, whether it is whatever you are holding, a jar or a frozen food or whatever, look at the back, look at the ingredients. Number one. Number two, look at the serving size. I have faulted so many times. It is written 2 grams of fat. I said, wow, 2 grams of fat, no saturated fat. But I did not realize that it had 25 servings in that jar. So each serving was 2 grams. We don't realize that. I did not realize. Look at the saturated fat. If there is too much of saturated fat, don't touch it. Look at the ingredients. If something is there where you can't pronounce all these coloring agents, stay away from it. The only time that I say frozen foods is your frozen fruits and frozen veggies, because they are flash frozen and that they're okay and organic. So, and sometimes people turn around and tell me, oh boy, healthy eating takes a long time. No, healthy eating does not take a long time. Once you get the hang of it, there is very little to do. And it cooks faster than your meat and your uh, whatever your other food items are. A lot of people have told me healthy eating is expensive. Is it really? Even if you go to a vegan restaurant, your entree of a vegan entree is less expensive than your meat entree. And if you buy it in bulks as we talk, it's going to be very easy. It's not expensive. And then you need to cut away all your carbs. People will say, oh, you're eating carbs. No, my friends, carbs are okay as long as you are using carbs which are complex carbs. You're not talking about the polished rice and the polished things where you have the husk is taken out, where your sugar levels go spiking high. These are the ones which are you have to be careful about. But your amaranth, your quinoa, your brown rice, these are slow glycemic foods. They increase the sugar the way the body is supposed to increase the sugar. So those are okay. And you have another misconception, you have to give up your taste. Yes, way back 15, 20 years back, not anymore. Go ahead, look at all the recipes, look at all the things that are coming out now. Finger licking. And and simple foods. So try my pizza out and see how you feel. I have no offense if you turn around and say it was lousy. It's okay. I will improve. And then another thing that people always tell me, where are you getting your calcium? Folks, you don't need calcium. This is a gimmick by the dairy industry that you need 1.5 grams, 1 gram of calcium. All you need is 600, 700 milligrams of calcium. Yeah, you need vitamin D to absorb that calcium. You don't need, and you get this calcium even if you're a plant-based. You get this calcium in your bok choy, in your kale, in your spinach, in your walnuts, in your pumpkin seeds. You get enough calcium. So you don't need calcium. So these are the things that come up in the mind when you wonder as to what kind of uh, things that we are facing in terms of your misconceptions.
Amazing. And thank you for that enlightenment. People struggle with that because they don't have that information. Like many men and women struggle with making those dietary changes. It's one thing to get the information, it's another as far as practical tips for transitioning to a plant-based diet, especially those who love meat and dairy. What are some practical tips for this transitioning that we're talking about now?
Okay, let me give you cite an example of myself. Some people, very few, can go cold turkey. I could not. I loved my meats and my eggs and my sugar like you wouldn't believe it. But you only change to a certain thing if you're benefiting from it. So I started taking small steps. I was already intolerant to dairy, so the lactose intolerant. So I gave up milk as a very first thing. And I would advise people to, if you want to give up dairy, the first thing you have to give up is dairy. Because what you'll find is immediate results. Less mucousy, less distension, less burping, less flatulence. And there are so many products out, non-dairy yogurts, non-dairy milks, that you don't need dairy anymore. And I tell you that once I've started non-dairy in my morning cup of coffee, if by chance also somebody puts on milk and gives it to me, I cannot stand it anymore. So your taste buds will get used to it and you start enjoying it. I then transitioned to giving up meats, but I stuck onto my fish. I became a pescatarian. And I could not give up fish for a longest period of time. Then I turned over and gave that up and became a vegetarian. That means no meat, no eggs, but I went back onto a bit of dairy. So I became a junk food vegetarian. Then I gave up dairy again. I became a junk food vegan. And finally, I gave up all the things that were harming me. And I have come to a stage that I feel 100 times better on this meal. And let me explain to you. I used to have diverticulosis, diverticulitis, perforated twice, admitted twice, doctors begging me, surgeons begging me that let us operate on you or you will not survive. I refused. Of course, I took help from other GIs and all that. But right now it is in the back burner because the important thing is fiber. We do not have, Americans don't eat enough fiber. 15 grams of fiber a day is not enough. That is what Americans eat. You need 30, you need 60, you need 90. The higher, the better. Without fiber, what happens? You strain during a bowel movement. People say constipation, hard stool. No, that is true. But straining is the one which can cause you little pockets of diverticuli that get then infected or inflamed and cause diverticulitis. And then their lining becomes thin and they rupture, and then you get perforation. You get anal fissures. You get hemorrhoids, all because of lack of fiber. Fiber is something that improves your gut bacteria. 10 trillion lying into your belly, 4 pounds of it. It decreases your cholesterol. And, and fiber is a must in our diet. So we don't have that. So my point is go step by step, take out a few things, go back onto it. And as you do this, don't give up. Pat your back on the effort you made, not on the outcome. You may fall, but even you're falling flat and you're moving forward. Get up and try again. So the whole idea is that people give up. Don't give up. Small things, do it. And if you're well enough, then go ahead and continue doing that. Uh, I now use for the pizza that I made, it was no cheese. Or what can you replace it with that tastes like cheese? Nutritional yeast. You got a lot of nutrients and it tastes like cheese. So I put that on my pizza that I made. Eggs, scrambled eggs can be replaced by scrambled tofu. And you cannot make out the difference. Meats, for example, minced meat. A lot of people like minced meat. You can make lovely minced soy with your spring onions and other things. Uh, a lot of people stick to their fatty fish because they think that they're not getting enough omega-3. Flax seeds, walnuts, chia seeds have ample of omega-3. So I think that it is a bit of a challenge. Once you get to a stage, I'm 15-year plant-based food, and I'm proud to say that I am feeling good about it.
Love it. Love it. And I'm going to change the subject just a little bit because you touched on it a little earlier, and that was about heart disease. It is still the leading cause of death in men and women. And if you could give us a couple of things around how a plant-based diet can help prevent and even reverse heart disease, that would be awesome.
See, let me just explain one important thing. Heart disease, if you treat, prevent, treat, and reverse heart disease, you're also preventing, treating, and reversing other chronic diseases that go hand in hand. And what are these? Heart disease, stroke, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes. We talked about it. What do these diseases have in common? See, they're all oxidative process, which is there. Inflammation is going on, which is there. Disturbance of your gut bacteria is there, that is going on. Overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system, whereby your heart rate, blood pressure, all that go up on a chronic basis. Your genetics, which only play 20% of your health outcome, and that too can be changed by epigenetics. If your lifestyle is good, your genes expression can be changed. Angiogenesis, a new blood vessel formation, especially the collaterals after your coronaries are blocked. So, and your telomeres that increase in size due to plant-based foods. And telomeres, for those who don't know, see, you have 46 strands of your DNA in your cell, and these are all coiled up as chromosomes. In the tip of each chromosome, you have what is called as a telomere. Now, this telomere shortens as the cells divide and as you age. And when they are shortened and no more, you die. And what they found was, and this is a classic thing with Dr. Blackburn, Elizabeth Blackburn, she got a Nobel Prize for the enzyme telomerase. Telomerase. This is the enzyme that increases if you are on a whole food, plant-based foods. So it does not, your telomere don't decrease that fast, don't shorten that fast. And they did a study in which they put people on an intensive exercise and a very restricted calorie diet. They all lost weight, but the telomeres did not increase. That shows that it is a food that increases, plant-based, increases your telomere in size. So if you have all these are the common things of common diseases. So if you're protecting your heart, you're protecting all the others. If you're protecting your diabetes, you're protecting your heart. If you're protecting your cholesterol and blood pressure, you're protecting your heart and your sugar. Now, think about it. What is it? When you eat things like your beets and your berries and your legumes and your beans and all that, your nitric oxide is increased in your blood vessels. And this dilates your blood vessels so that the blood is flowing smoothly. It protects the arterial wall, it doesn't get rigid so that you don't get blood pressure very high. So, the whole idea is that if you follow the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, if you follow the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine that we talked about, then obviously you're getting a cardioprotective. And if you follow it strictly, whole food, plant-based, no oil, no sugar, no salt diet, then you are a winner in reversing your heart disease. So I was on a talk yesterday, and that interviewer asked me, she says, Dr. Taher, would you have had the stents and your bypass surgery if you had known then what you know now? And I told her, no. I would have looked at other options. You have a test which is called Clearly, Cleerly. This test helps you to understand what plaques do you have, how much of plaques you have, and whether they are soft, friable, or they're hard plaques. See, my plaques are very hard. Both my arteries were 98 to 99% blocked, but they were so hard they had to use a diamond tip drill to shave off the plaques. Now, you don't get a heart attack because of blockages. You get a heart attack because those soft clots break, form an emboli, and go in to a certain part of the heart, block that part of the heart, and that part of the heart dies, and you get a heart attack. This is an emergency. But my plaques were so thick. All I had to do at that time was to have a whole food, plant-based diet, no oil, sugar, salt, and there was a possibility that it would have reversed. And because what would happen is, even though my plaques would not melt away, my coronaries would have dilated, and the blood flow would be there. So I would not get the angina. I had angina, not a heart attack. For a heart attack, yes, you got to do everything. For an angina, you have to wait and see.
Interesting. Thank you for that. I'm looking at the time and I want to make sure that we're respectful for
Oh,
everyone's
yeah.
time.
Oh, we have already
We're a little
crossed
bit
over.
over, but please, if you've got a couple more minutes, stay with us now. And I'd love for you to tell everybody, I think you said some of this on the front end of the call that people here may not have heard, but what's on the horizon for Dr. Akil? And for us being a part of your community.
I think this was a very nice article that was written by my dear friend Sid Notter in National Health
Hmm.
Association Health Magazine. And we do not understand the cause and effect of the food. Why? There's certain foods we do. We take something spicy, we get a heartburn, we get regurg, and we are aware of it. But you take say, something else which is greasy and things which are processed, you don't get an immediate effect of getting a heart attack or high blood pressure. If you had that immediate effect, you would have given it up. And all this is now building up. So the disassociation is that we do not understand that it starts at a very young age, 8 to 10, but it manifests itself when you are in your 50s and 60s. That's very important. Number two is believing that medication solves all the problems. No, you can have a bypass surgery and stents. You have got a band-aid treatment. Your blood flow is there. But what about the blood vessels in other parts of the heart, in your brain, in your kidney, in your legs. You've not removed the cause. So medication can improve your longevity. You can have a long uh, lifespan, but not health span, because
Hmm.
most of us have a last 20 years of our lives are often miserable. And that is the main thing. And some people say it runs in the family. So it's out of my control. No, genetics plays 10 to 20% of your health output. Who said this? That genetics is like when you load the gun, but it is your lifestyle that pulls the trigger. So you do understand that it can change your expression of your genes. So don't blame it on your genes. Or for that matter, oh, my genes are too good, nothing will happen to me. Your bad lifestyle can show a bad expression of your genes. Another thing is you make small changes and you expect great results. For example, you will have a big soda and you will say that you will stop having the big soda, a large soda, but you still have fruit drinks with like orange and all that, which has got a lot of sugar. So you have a I say I'm having salad. I'm having salad every day, but you use a lot of that dressing, which is full of saturated fat and sugar. So you don't expect big results. You know, you will have a nice cheesecake and then you will say, oh, I'm using all the berries on top. That's for health reason. So you don't expect big results. Assuming that everything sold in the food store is healthy. We talked about it. And finally, oh, everything in moderation is okay. Oh, that's a pleasure trap. Moderation is a slippery slope. When you're going to slip, we don't know. And we are rationalize. We are very intelligent human beings. We rationalize, oh, this is okay. This is all right because I'm doing it in moderation. But no, you're falling into that trap. So don't let moderation fool you. Sometimes it does.
I love
And
that.
now I
Thank
want
you.
to, with that, I want to say thank you very much for all of you who are here. Please subscribe to my YouTube, write your comments on it. I am going around to also my all these talks. Please come over on Friday, spread the word, and we would love to have you next time on the show.
Beautiful. Thank you. I still want to give you a chance to tell people what else you're going to be doing this year, but I also want people to know that Dr. Akil is going to do his Q&A, so don't go if you don't have to.
Yes,
Um,
yes, I
if
forgot.
if you have to, we totally understand.
I'm sorry I was overtime. My apologies.
You can put your question in the chat and we'll make sure that the answer gets recorded so that when the recording gets released, you'll be able to see the answer to your question. But
Or you can ask
please,
me.
well, tell people what you have coming up that they can look forward to. I mean, you mentioned Shop with the Doc. What is Shop with the Doc?
Shop with the dog, I think people were not here, most of you, is what I do is I shop with the items that are needed to cook for that day. So I go out into certain stores and buy things and then come home and then I cook. I am not a gourmet cook. I'm not doing gourmet meals. So don't expect that. For that, you have a lot of sites online. But if you're looking for simple meals that can sustain you, that can help you health wise, that can build up your energy, that can make you feel good, clarity of thoughts, then please join me in for that and look at my YouTube and please try and subscribe because the more I get subscription, then the more people can come in and watch.
Great, thank you. And
Going for a lot of talks too. I'm going to Florida in the summers. I'm going to Hilton Head to talk to a group of people back in August or something. I don't know. So I'm busy about that. But if anybody feels that they can't get a hold of their doctor and it's something important that they want to ask, please feel free to call me.
that is very generous of you. Thank you. Um, I am not seeing any questions except for one question. Um, by being vegan, am I missing out on nutrients that support healthy skin elasticity?
No, ma'am, you're not. Uh, uh, I don't know who asked this question. It's a very good question. You're not missing out because what you need for elasticity of the skin is a lot of hydration. And apart from drinking water, you can also hydrate by your vegetables, which are like hydrating vegetables, like cucumber, like celery, carrots. All this can hydrate your skin. And your berries and all that, you'll feel the glow. You're not going to lose on elasticity at all. There's nothing in a carnivore diet that can improve your skin. In fact, you your skin will not be that elastic if you are constantly on meat-based diet.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming in with us today. If you would like to just come on, turn your camera on and come on screen to say hello, goodbye, that would be awesome. We'd love to see you. And really, thank you for joining us today. This is the first of the series for the year, and we'll be doing so much more. So un unmute your camera, and if you want to say something, unmute
Oh, I see
yourself.
Jose. Wow, Jose, how are you?
All right, there we go. We've got
Yeah,
people
I'll
Thank
have
unmuted.
to. I did unmute my camera. I joined in a bit late, but it was pretty informational. Thanks, Doc.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being there, Jose. Jose is a
Okay.
schoolmate of mine who is
Oh,
involved into a lot of things. Oh my God, how he keeps up, I don't know. He's all around the world.
No, no, that sounds better than what it is. But I quite like the talk. I missed the beginning because I missed out on the timing because in our timings are different. I'll figure that out by the time we come in again. Thanks a ton. That was enjoyable.
Thank you. Thank you. And please pass the word around in your friend circle. Please let them join. We won't have this premature heart deaths, which sometimes happens to our school mates.
Correct. And no, I will tell them, and I'll share your links, as and when it comes, so that they can join in as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless.
Okay, guys, take care. See you next Friday.
Thank you.
Come up with questions. I love questions, even though sometimes I'm stuck and I don't have answers. Okay.
Bye bye.
thank you,
Take
Bye-bye.
everyone.
care.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Bye.